Remember a week ago when we were talking about Inter and we were sitting there thinking, well, is this really going to, we dealing with a matured Inter now that 2-0 and just go about their business and move on to the next game? Well, what a difference a week makes, I guess.
Just an game for them.
Absolute stampede at the San Siro, 4-0, and it could have been 10-0 the way this game went, had it not been for Christensen in goal for Inter. Fiorentina's first crack at showing that, hey, we can do this against the big teams. We can get it done, and it blew up in their face, and sensationally, I might add. 3-5-2 for Inter. Sommer in goal. It was Darmian, De Vrij, Bastoni across the back. Dumfries and DiMarco the wing backs. Barella, Calhanoglu, Mkhitaryan in midfield. Thuram and Lautaro Martinez up front against a back four of Christensen in goal for Fiorentina. Back four of Dodo, Milenkovic, Ranieri, and Biraghi. Double pivot of Arthur and Rolando Mandragora, Kwame Bonaventura, and contrary to people's popular opinions, yes, Nicolas Gonzalez did suit up and play in this game, and Lucas Beltran up front for Fiorentina. Inter absolutely blitzed Fiorentina, a 4-0 win. Marcus Thuram heading home, a DiMarco goal. DiMarco was sensational in this game. Lautaro Martinez finishing a chance from Marcus Thuram. Calhanoglu a penalty in the 58th minute, and then Lautaro finishing it off on an assist from Juan Cuadrado coming in off the bench. I mean, Inter just completely had their way in this game, Richard, but I'm going to start with, I'm going to devil's advocate this just a little bit. I mean, we can sit here and be in awe of Inter and all this other stuff, but I am going to devil's advocate just a little bit.
All right.
This is an incomplete Fiorentina team that just lost Sofian Amrabat, that plugged a backup wing back / left back into the center of defense in Ranieri. Okay. So two completely noticeable differences with what Fiorentina is accustomed to lining up. That said, if you're a good team, you're going to exploit where your opponent is deficient. Okay, just like Milan was able to carry on because Roma was going to be predictable at what they did, Inter was going to just completely pick apart what Fiorentina was coming at. They probably watched tape of how Lecce did it over the course of the second half of match week 2.
Yep.
There were some noticeable carbon copy stuff going on there. Not to say that Inter is trying to steal Lecce's playbook in how to attack, because Inter can do it quite well without Lecce's help. But there were some noticeable things that went on through there. Completely tore through Fiorentina on the counter. Ranieri, just not a center back, looked completely lost in this game. And Dodo was just completely exploited. I mean, how many of Inter's attacks were on that left-hand side and featured Federico Di Marco? I mean,
everyone almost.
Yeah, just a complete beating. So I've made my points. A little bit of devil's advocate here because Fiorentina has some square pegs and some round holes in the lineup that they played in, but nonetheless, that's a special performance from Inter.
Yeah, and as Ali mentions in the chat, Fiorentina played most of these players in the game on Thursday against Rapid Wien, and so they were tired. And Inter took advantage of them on the counterattack and played a fast pace that they knew that Fiorentina would not be able to keep up for 90 minutes and just batter them. And as we said last week, Inter have ways of the 1-2-0 and then kind of sit back. In this game, they went for the cutthroat right at the beginning, and it kept going. What I like about Inter's attack in this is it was waves, and they would come at you. It wasn't just like one attack coming; it was like a wave and wave and wave, 3 waves at a time on an attack. And so you miss one, but there's like follow-up guy, the guy after that right there, and so it's like you never know which guy these runners are coming from. They come from all over, and obviously Di Marco having a fantastic game, him linking up with Thuram with a wonderful cross there. Di Marco's obviously fantastic. Lautaro Martinez is, since he got into captain's armband, and really towards the end of last year, he kind of got to another level where when he plays defensively, meaning he backtracks and tries to get the ball back, he just goes to another level and he's more engaged into the game. The goal that I don't remember which goal anymore because it scored so many goals. But what play where he intercepted the ball and caused a turnover? DiMarco got the assist. I think that might have been the Thuram goal, honestly. But yeah, Inter looked so good in this game. They found a way to make Dumfries effective in the game. Çalhanoğlu again with the deep line position with Mkhitaryan and Barella. I like it there. This team is so freaking deep as well. The pieces that they got are fitting in nicely. Sommer, Thuram. And so obviously they got a couple guys coming off the bench that we haven't even seen yet. But this team and Inzaghi really deserve all the credit because they found the first three opponents. They found their weaknesses and they exploited them. When they had to be cutthroat, they were so far the first three games, as they were in this game, or like in the last game, they kind of take the foot off the pedal and just kind of manage the game, which they did. So, man, it sets up an enticing matchup coming up here in a little over a week's time, week and a half time. But Inter looked just amazing and incomplete is the fair grade to give Fiorentina for sure.
Yeah, but this is what you do if you're going to contend for a title. And you know, if a team is weak, if a team is vulnerable, you hammer away at it and you don't make any excuses and you don't apologize for it. And that's what Inter were. I mean, the astonishing statistic for me is the possession, because if you watch this game, you would never think that Inter only had 40% possession in this game.
I know.
I mean, with what they did with the ball was just brutally efficient. But again, some of this is Fiorentina's a little incomplete. Ollie's making the point. 9 players playing against Rapid on Thursday. You saw that across a lot. There were teams that were playing in Thursday qualifiers, and you go to the Premier League. Aston Villa got played off the park against Liverpool after many other guys had to qualify. I think they're in the Conference League. But we're completely outclassed and outplayed by Liverpool. And you look at that Aston Villa team, and you're like, they shouldn't lose 3-0 to Liverpool. Yeah. But I digress. So it's taking advantage of certain situations. And if you're going to win a Scudetto, you have to certainly do that.
I will say this: I would have loved to see if Fiorentina did not have that Thursday game. They had a fully fit squad. What that offense, what we've seen the first couple weeks of the season, how that would have fared up against the Inter defense, who really haven't been tested thus far. Yes, they've been solid defensively for what they've had, but again, this is a weakened Fiorentina team that really didn't have their A game with them. And so, what would it be like if they did? Well, we'll find out. Again, in the derby very soon.
Yep. Martinez Cuarta didn't play, and I think a lot of that was just. And he only played 9 minutes in the game against Rapid Vienna, so I don't know what's going on with him that he's not getting run. That he wouldn't partner with Milenkovic in that back line, but if there might be something not right with him. Who knows? Yeah. A Fiorentina fan can enlighten us on why Cuarta's not getting out there, because that's normally the ideal partner. But we're having Ranieri deputizing, and it's not pretty. Fiorentina fans, so somebody help me out on that one. Inter, why were they so successful in basically choking Nico Gonzalez out of this game?
I think it's a combination of not only DiMarco just being good defensively and offensively. Is the way they structure themselves defensively, where they don't give up too much. Inzaghi's smart. He'll know where guys can what teams can take advantage of them, and they kind of like shade to that side. Kind of rub them out of the game and force, kind of like similar to what Sarri did with Napoli, and force someone else to beat you. Nico Gonzalez is almost non-existent in this game, and the credit goes to the way they tactically set up against Fiorentina, and so. Is this a formula for other teams? We'll see. He's not. Nico Gonzalez doesn't necessarily pose fear in you, but he's such a good player. You have to be cognizant of where he is on the pitch at all times. And I think Inter did a marvelous job of knowing where he's at, having a body on him, and having a second guy come on and when needed, and really made him a non-factor in this game.
Not a single shot, not a single chance created. Committed 2 fouls, and. In 55 minutes, touched the ball 32 times, and gave away a lot of passes. Lost a lot of possession. I mean, they did their homework and they were ready. Nico Gonzalez lost possession 14 times. he had more lost possessions than accurate passes in this game. And I think that probably, you speak to DiMarco, but also the performance from Alessandro Bastoni, too, in that area.
And I want to say this about Bastoni because you brought him up. Bastoni he's doing kind of what we've seen a little bit flashes of, where he didn't do enough of, I think, is he's so good at rushing up the field and getting involved in the play. I mean, at times he was leading the line, it seemed like, in the attack, really making it really difficult for Fiorentina to kind of pick up who to cover, because Bastoni can score goals if you leave him open. So he made it very difficult for them, like you said, and Bastoni helping out there. It's just this Inter team is very deep. They're going to be a problem for many teams in Europe.
Yeah, the energy that Bastoni played with was just ridiculous. Just a thorough performance from Inter, and well done. So